Hi friends, welcome once again to Iron Crane Dojo. Bill McCabe here, and we're going to take a look today at something that's a little bit challenging but worth knowing more about in case you haven't done this before. I refer to it as the four corners throw, and I'll just give you a quick glimpse of it real quick. Francisco, you're over here. And we'll set it up. In fact, throughout this video, we'll set it up essentially the same way. We'll set it up from someone grabbing at your wrist. Okay? And I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough here, just to give you an idea of the appearance. Now, I'm not throwing it, of course, because I don't want to overstress his shoulder or his joints, but this is basically the outcome, and then at this point you have the option of throwing the person or breaking the joint. Again, he grabs and bridging over, out, and now you can sort of see the power that the move has. Okay, step back, sir, if you will, and this is Seafood Chrysanthus. He's a black belt, and he's assisting, so if I do anything which tweaks his joint, he'll make me pay for it. As you all know, you never hurt your partners, and you do everything in a controlled fashion. So when you're working with your teachers, you know, I'm sure your teachers remind you of that. The four corners throw has a few essential components that have to be part of your flow whenever you execute it. So bring this in a little bit closer, if you will. The first thing is the transition point, getting proper hand control. And proper hand control is here. Now I want you to see what this looks like, because if you do it any other way, you're not going to have proper hand control. See, there's a bone here, a phalanx, or what do we call it?
Phalange.
Phalange. And as he grabs, I'm getting control over that. And then my thumb is riding over the crease where his wrist engages with the joint at the base of the thumb. Okay, this gives me a good firm grip, but it's also a grip that triggers the nerves and the pressure points which are innervating the arm, so that when I move, there's a little bit of pain distraction in his body, which allows me to move and to control him more efficiently. What you don't want to do is grab like this and try the same thing, because as soon as I move like that, I'm moving against his muscular strength, and I don't have the leverage that I have working against the innervating nerves that feed the arm, that energize the arm. So this is the first point. Now I want you to see how I'm doing this, because bring this in really close and just watch this. You can look at my face if you want. I don't mind it, but I want you to look at the hand. I feed this over to the left. And what's interesting about how I feed this is I glide it over by putting my right hand under my armpit. Now what's nice about this is there's other moves you can do off this. If you were not going to do the four corners throw, you have the wheel punch or the wheel back fist. You bring it in and you trap down and you go high. So that's an interesting side move here. If you want to play with it on your own, you can do that in, the quick feed and over. And then you can go straight on in after that. But those, we digress. I bridge it over, I capture. And doing it this way ensures that you're on point. And a lot of people will try it with an eagle move. An eagle move is like this, and if you do that, you're on the wrist. That's too high for control. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. When I convert this as part of the flow, you'll see how having the right hand position effectively amps up the leverage. Okay, so that's the first point. Step back, sir, if you will. The second point is just, can you close the door, if you will? Second point is your left leg needs to go to the correct position. So as I do the hand switch, my left leg is bridging, preparing for the next step. I cross and I bridge. So when I do this, you can see how its balance changes. Now, the purpose of, bring it in closer if you will, the purpose of my changing this balance like that is that I protect myself from a quick and immediate counter. So I'm here, he's going to punch me. You see, he loses that. And again, this digresses, this changes the topic. If for some reason my technique is foiled, I'm in an advantageous position, okay? We still have control of the attacker. Now, I'm going to show you one other thing in the setup sequence here. Come real close to this. So he grabs. Now watch my right hand. You see it floats ever so lightly in that direction. Now watch what happens when I relax it. Okay? So he's literally falling into my technique. He goes back and he grabs. I float it and then I step it. And he literally falls into the technique. Now that's straight out of the Tai Chi book. And the Eternal Arts, it's also in part out of the Hapkido book. You energize, you create a, though not, if I force it up, he'll read that and he'll react into me. But this is barely discernible. You see, I know I'm doing it, but the attacker doesn't know what's happening. The attacker only knows that they need to adjust because something's not right. So as he adjusts, I execute into the move. Okay, now that's all the first count. Now, the second count, now I'm going to borrow Francisco again and give you armor rest there. The second count is I'm here. This is the line or the wall that separates us. I'm going to go 45 degrees in that direction. Now, as I do that, I extend here. This is the arch. We go through the arch. I step through the arch 45 degrees in that direction. You see, the arch is what gives me the avenue of entry. If I try to go here and I don't have an arch and I try to go through his arm, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm not going to have a place that I can go through. So I react, I create the arch, and I go through it, and then I loop around the arch, and I go from here 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Now, let go of your arm for a second. 180 degrees is here. And as I do it, I'm going to ask the camera person to go over here, if you will, and get a forward view of this. As I do this, I'm here. And what really energizes this technique as I do the 180-degree turnabout is I whip this to the horizon. There's a mentality here, a mentation that drives the technique. And if you don't put that in there, the technique's going to be much weaker. So we're here, and I'm going to put a little bit of energy on this, so you'll see Francisco move, but I'm not going to hurt him. And again, this has to be practiced with restraint. And there's a lot here that you can learn just by, in the context of your class, under the guidance of your teacher, working through these concepts as a group, and then changing partners, trying them with each other. So I'm here, I bridge, and I go over. Now watch. Watch how overextended he is. As I see, I'm holding back now, but as I go in that direction, see, he has no way of adjusting before he loses his balance and drops to the ground. Now, we're not going to throw anyone today. I'm going to go artillery at this point. We're here, she grabs 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm not throwing her, but if I explode, I can loop her in the air. Okay, but we're going to show some interesting add-ons and some interesting facets of this move that give you a lot of different options in a self-defense situation. So Tara's here, she grabs. Okay, and I'm here. See, I don't want to throw her. I snap down. See, all the energy is right into her shoulder. See that? Come on around over here to look over my left shoulder at her, if you will. If I snap down, all the energy is right there. So instead of a throw, it becomes a shoulder attack, or shoulder dislocating technique. Now back out in front, if you will, sir. If I relax the energy a little bit more and put it to her elbow, I've got it centered here now. Or I go here and it's all on her wrist now. Okay? Or I bring it around and it's on her wrist, elbow, and shoulder. The point is, there's multi-modes of application, multiple areas on the attacker's body where you can focus your thought and your energy. Okay, this is called, in our group, the four corners throw. And I'm going to relate this to you by way of explanation. Whenever we use the expression four corners, we mean the four corners of the compass. When we refer to something as a four corners technique, we mean that it can work in all directions of the circle, 360 degrees. And the four corners throw is not only a four corners throw around the circle where you can work it at all angles, it also works four corners three-dimensionally. So you can do it standing, sitting, or even on the ground. Maybe in a future video we'll talk more about that. But I am going to show you a little bit about the capacity of this technique to work at different angles. Sensei Chris, if you will. So let's go this way. My good son. That's a joke. He grabs. And the first time I was bridging in this direction. This time I'm going to back door. I'm going to go out. I'm completely outside him. Completely outside. Basically the same technique, but watch. I step counterclockwise, and this is position 1 and 2. And then when I turn about and do the 180 degrees, he's going in a completely different direction. The first time he would have gone in that direction. This time he's going in this direction. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through that. And in today's video, you'll have two permutations of the technique. And you'll know that it's possible to take it in two completely different directions by modifying the footwork and modifying your attitude. I'll leave it to you with whatever group you're working with to explore the other possibilities. Just be assured that there are many ways you can do this in many different directions. Step out, sir, if you will. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through the variation. Bring it over, sir, if you will. This is the offshoot. I step right foot forward and outside him. Now the beauty of this is I'm basically controlling his body at this point. If he tries to do a hand attack, you know, he's basically stuck. And if he tries to do a foot, I'm controlling his body weight by making adjustments, okay? And then the beauty, of course, just like before, is I've got the quick hits if I need them. I've got elbows, I can drive them down to the ground, all kinds of possibilities. I can kick underneath this, okay? Different things can happen. You can roll the joint locks. The topic's for a different day. Again, he grabs, I step. Now, all I do, step back, there's the arch, dip under, and go execute. Okay? Say he throws a left punch at me. You can see how quick this is. Okay, you can see how quick it sets up. And having said that, you know, we'll leave you with these thoughts for today. There's a lot of content here, and work these, experiment with them. Go watch a few Steven Seagal movies. I'm sure that you'll see that a lot of his movement is predicated off the four corners throw or the principles which underlie the concept. Until we meet the next time, stay well, do well, and keep us in mind as friends.